On this day in 1938, Celtic beat Everton 1-0 to win the Empire Exhibition Cup. The Empire Exhibition Scotland of May to June 1938 was an international event held in Glasgow to showcase the achievements of the British Empire and provide a much-needed boost to Scottish industry as it slowly emerged from the Great Depression. Another stated aim was to emphasise the peaceful aspirations of the peoples of the Empire. 2 years in the planning, it took place against the backdrop of the Sudetenland crisis, which threatened to drag Britain into war with Germany a year before the Nazi invasion of Poland. The exhibition took place in Bellahouston Park, 145 acres of which were transformed into a series of exhibits and pavilions showcasing the achievements of the dominions and colonies of the Empire, as well as Scotland and the rest of the UK, and all dominated by the Art Deco Tait's Tower, specially built for the occasion and designed by the architect Thomas S. Tait. Despite 1938 being one of the wettest Glasgow summers on record, almost 13 million visitors came to the exhibition, which was not even open on Sundays. For the football-crazy second city of the Empire, it went without saying that there would be a football tournament at close-by Ibrox, where the exhibition was opened by King George VI and his mother Queen Mary on the 3rd of May 1938 as an integral part of the festivities. Truth be told, England didn't really send 4 of the best to represent them in the tournament, which was inevitably dubbed the unofficial British Championship. While Celtic, Hearts, Rangers and Aberdeen constituted the winners and runners-up in the Scottish League for the previous 2 seasons, Brentford, who finished in 6th place in Division 1 in 1937-38, were the highest placed of the English entrants. Chelsea finished in 10th place and Everton in 14th, while 8th placed Sunderland had won the FA Cup in 1937. The First Division's top 4 in 1937-38 had been Arsenal, Wolves, Preston North End and Charlton Athletic. All of the matches were played at Ibrox, and the only English club who won a match in the tournament was Everton, who beat Rangers 2-0. Celtic beat Sunderland 3-1 after extra time in a replay, the first match being drawn 0-0, while Aberdeen disposed of Chelsea 4-1 and Hearts beat Brentford 1-0. The semi-finals saw Celtic beat Hearts 1-0, while Everton, much to the surprise of even their own fans after an indifferent season, beat Aberdeen 3-2 to set up a meeting with Celtic, with a hefty solid silver model of Tait's Tower as the prize. Celtic were slight favourites, and the Glasgow Herald reported on the morning of the match, "Splendidly endowed physically, the Everton players in their games so far have revealed ball control of a high order, and against Rangers especially, they delighted everyone by their ability to shoot accurately and powerfully from long range. And besides that, their forwards, like Celtic's, delight in interchanging movements which can be very perplexing for opposing defenders. Both clubs can boast powerful defences, and the centre halfbacks, Lyon, Celtic, and Jones, Everton, are dominating personalities. The result, therefore, appears to lie with the forwards, and here Celtic may hold the advantage, especially if they have the services of Delaney, their international outside right." Unusually for that summer, it was a fine evening on Friday the 10th of June 1938, and the biggest crowd of the tournament, at 82,000, turned up at Ibrox to see Celtic line up: Kennelly, Hogg, Morrison, Geetins, Lyon, Patterson, Delaney, MacDonald, Crum, Divers, Murphy. Although Everton had finished in 14th place that season, they had a strong side and would win the First Division the following year. The Empire Exhibition Tournament proved to be the stage on which they came good. They had 2 ex-Rangers players in Torry Gillick and Alex Stevenson, a Dubliner who turned out for both the Dublin-based FAI and the Belfast-based IFA Irish international teams. Gillick was injured in the semi-final and was replaced by England international Albert Gildard. At centre forward, they had 18-year-old Tommy Lawton, who would go on to score 22 goals in 23 matches for England and play First Division football into the mid-1950s. They met their match in this Celtic team, who had finally emerged from their own Great Depression of the 1920s and 30s to win the Scottish League in 2 of the previous 3 seasons. The Scotsman of the 11th of June 1938 reported, "The Scottish League champions may have had fortunate moments in disposing of Sunderland and Heart of Midlothian on their way to the final, but they were always just a little ahead of their English rivals last night, even though the game went to extra time and the margin was narrow. Everton were typical of English clubs, lusty and possessed of clever passing skill, with wingers and halfbacks all able to work the touchline. Celtic, however, had the greater versatility and a bigger range of tactics." There was a real contrast at centre forward between the tall, burly Lawton, a classic forward spearhead, and Celtic's diminutive box of tricks Johnny Crumb, who often interchanged with inside forwards Malcolm MacDonald and John Divers. In defence, Celtic's captain Willie Lyon and goalkeeper Joe Kennaway were the heroes. The Glasgow Herald of the 11th of June reported, "Kennaway, whose play had considerable bearing on Celtic's progress to the final, had another grand match. His almost foolhardy save from Lawton will be often recalled." Lyon was the other outstanding player in the Parkhead defence. The 3 inside forwards bore the brunt of the forward work. Willie Lyon was called Celtic's Bayard by Willie Maley, after a medieval French military leader known as the Knight Without Fear and Above Reproach. He joined the army as a private on the outbreak of war in 1939 and before long impressed his superiors enough to be given a commission. He ended the war as a major and won the Military Cross, but a leg wound sustained in action in Normandy in 1944 ended his football career. Everton started well, the Scotsman reporting, "Celtic, starting against the wind, were hard-pressed for a spell, but Lawton's jousts with Kennaway were unproductive and a series of free kicks gave Celtic a grip on the game, Divers being particularly prominent. Some of Celtic's failings might have been due to the fact that they were also facing the sun." Both teams had good spells, but Everton's England international Ted Sagar was by far the busier keeper, and John Divers had a goal disallowed for offside just before the end of the 90 minutes as Celtic finished strongly. The Scotsman writing, "For a while, only Lawton's clever leading prevented Everton being hemmed in altogether, while weight and vigour kept Crumb and Delaney at bay till full time." Everton put Celtic under some pressure at the beginning of extra time, but it was Celtic who finally broke the deadlock. The Glasgow Herald reported, "After 6 minutes play of the extra time, Crumb scored for Celtic. It was well conceived and smartly taken from 15 yards with a shot of great accuracy. Sagar got his hands to the drive, but could not possibly have stopped it." Tom Campbell and Pat Woods write in the excellent Rhapsody in Green, "Crumb danced away in joy and, before his teammates could reach him, capered round behind the goal to salute the supporters, now ecstatic in the realisation of triumph." Celtic held on comfortably for the remaining time, with Everton's only threatening moment a scoring header from Alex Stevenson that was disallowed, the Scotsman describing it as badly offside. The trophy was collected by Willie Lyon on a specially constructed platform in front of the main stand, with players from both teams receiving smaller replicas, Celtic's in solid silver, while the Everton players were given silver-plated versions as runners-up. 5 days later, the Empire Exhibition Trophy joined the League Championship Trophy and the Glasgow Merchants Charities Cup on display at a lavish event at the Grosvenor Restaurant to celebrate Celtic's 50th Jubilee. Manager Willie Maley was presented with an honorarium of 2,500 guineas to mark his 50 years of service to the club. But behind the scenes, things were not as harmonious as they seemed. The increasingly cantankerous Maley, now 70 years old, was not popular with either the directors or the players, and the former hoped Maley would take the hint that it was now time for him to retire. Within a few weeks, Celtic was not in a happy place, as the players were rebuffed by Maley after they did not receive the full bonus they had been promised for winning the Empire Exhibition Tournament, while the manager became involved in a long-running dispute with the directors over who should pay the tax on his honorarium. The turmoil was certainly a contributory factor in the disappointments of season 1938-39. The British Empire, celebrated so enthusiastically by the exhibition of 1938, was entering its twilight. And 1938 marked also the end of an era for Celtic. One last hurrah for Willie Maley, the last survivor of the club's founding fathers, who would finally be ousted as the club virtually gave up on football for the duration of the war. A slump that would only really end in 1965.